All right, just getting situated here. It looks like, wow, we had the double session push up. 3K up to 4K and buy side push for the day. Volume point of control at 23,600. Got a top volume point of control. Let's see where she goes. 8 minutes. Gonna go get some coffee and be right back. What's up, woke? I am tired as a mofo. One more day of this, and then I'm on vacation for a week. My schedule is effed up. Be right back. Okay, let's see if we can get any clear reads on price. All right. Yeah. 8 more minutes, or 6 more minutes now at this point. Yeah.
Sweep ESU 5 CME sellers at 6408.
Okay. It's nice to sit in this chair, though.
Absorption ESU 5 CME sellers at 6408.25. Absorption ESU 5 CME buyers at 64.07.
Come in beneath the volume pointing control. Top node volume pointing control. A lot of trading up in this region. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-tsh. August 6th, volume pointing control down, way down there. At the daily open, actually. "30 seconds until we start." Got some bearish divergence playing out. Here we go.
Absorption ESU 5 CME sellers at 6,407.5. Sweep NQU 5 CME buyers at 23,590.
Could be getting
Absorption
some buyer
NQU 5
absorption.
CME sellers at
Just got
23,590.
a bunch of buyers hit at the volume point of control and some down at 590 here. Could go clear to that volume imbalance down at 572.
Absorption ESU 5 CME buyers
to
at
break 590 for that to be true.
6,402.75.
Got another 88 participant. Took 426 in buy side with
Absorption
that push up.
ESU 5 CME buyers at 6,405.25.
ES kind of breaking down while NQ kind of holding. So this is some bearish divergence that could play out. I would take it if it goes back below 590 for a push into the 570s. Again, you got lower lows on ES while you're still making lower lows on NQ, kind of. Needs to break the 590s for me to feel anything about shorting it.
Sweep
Now
ESU
ES
5
pushing
CME
up.
buyers at
So
64.12.
ES getting a
Absorption
push.
ESU 5 CME sellers at
Beware of
64.12.
any short. Again, you need to come below 590 for that to be true. So just came back on 412 in buy side here, making 5K in buy side aggression for the session. Buyers in control currently. Coming to recover that wick at the value area high. I have a weird feeling about longing this top here. All right, once again, if it comes below 590, the short could be on to the 570s. We just stepped up on 426 and 412 buy side, so this could be the buyer absorption idea coming below the volume point of control at 600. And the first little buy pool at 590. All depends about what ES is wanting to do. Didn't really pull back on much sell side, so the sellers are skittish. So if you're in the neighborhood for a short, the sellers are not aggressive, let's say. Looks like it's like a FU candle, and then could see some aggression here below the 600s and clearing the 590s. Sweep to the sell side. Here we go. Volume imbalance at 572. Target. Got 93 up there at 625. Looks like they're looking to defend these targets up above here. Let's see, can we go get these orders down below? There's not really much news here too, so just kind of inside the range here. Until you break those 590s, there's no confidence on this. I'd keep a stop at 622.25. Like, if it goes above that, we're out. kind of holding the 600 volume point of control at this time. Still very minimal sell side aggression delta on these push down here. So you could see the acceleration. There's not much seller aggression to have to pay them if it goes back into these inflection points. And I'd be out of that.
Sweep ESU5 CME buyers at 6,410.5. Absorption ESU5 CME buyers at 6,409.75.
We just hit a little 100 lot buyer, probably some stopped out shorts. Hitting another 400 in buyer liquidity here at the tops. If you've been patiently waiting on the sidelines, you have opportunities all around you to fade these inflection points too, if you're so inclined. Sweeping the value area high and raising it.
Sweep NQU5 CME buyers at
Hitting another 300 in buy
23,640.5.
side here up at the top.
Absorption ESU5 CME sellers at 6,413.5. Sweep ESU5 CME buyers at 6,413.75.
Nice. Good job, Woke. Created two volume imbalances on the way up there. Hit some volume, some buyers up here, 70 and 91.
Absorption ESU5 CME sellers at 6,408.5.
Looks like a manipulation leg up, so coming back on these buyers, I would take this as a blow off top kind of thing and fade. pulled back into 346 sell side. Fade these inflection points. Again, 590. Break 590, 572 is the target. We hit 500 in sell side here, 346 and 236. Back at volume point of control at 600. 5K in buyer aggression for the session. So getting a slight pullback makes sense. Is what we've been talking about. Breaking these inflection points at 590 being the last of them for a burst to the downside. The volume imbalance target down at the 570. Getting some more sell side hit here. So if the rewarding of the sellers is true, you'd have to break the 600s. This 87 lot player needs to get rewarded for the sellers to have some steam. We're looking to ES to see the sweeping of the lower orders at 63.90-ish to coincide with this idea. Here we go. You had another 64 seller enter as we push down, getting a lot of sellers, and it's kind of jittery, so it's kind of, there we go. You need to move away from this if it's going to be true. Otherwise, this is a slingshot, so it needs to move away from this now. If the sellers are in control, it's going to move away from this now.
Sweep ESU 5 CME sellers at 6,399.25. Sweep NQU 5 CME sellers at 23,578.25.
We just broke the 590s, the first inflection point we were talking about. And
absorption ESU 5 CME sellers at
buyer that could be absorbed here at the
6,400.5.
80s. If it's going to pick up steam to go to the 570s. To recover the volume imbalance, but I would trail these guys pretty aggressively. If it comes back above 596, I'd be not interested in shorting this. Here we go. Sweep to the 570s, inbound. Buyer absorption of the 74 buyer. We just swept the 570 even. Again, I would trail this pretty aggressively. This was a manipulation sequence of the London session. The London had a push up, and then you had a deviation of that pull up from London, and possibly seeing if it goes in this region, coming back into these two deviations from this leg. But okay, didn't really get above this push down, so the jitter to the downside seems to be holding. Kind of set hitting a bunch of buy side here to stop out some of these sellers and induce some buyers and possibly absorb them. I wouldn't stay in there any time below 59650 though. That would be a place to just sit on the sidelines. And out. Hopefully you were taking the 20 points to that 70 level. I said 570. There isn't a volume imbalance down below that, but 570 was the target. And it hit 570 exactly. So that was a pretty clear read. It was nice to see, you know, we hit some buy side. We circled the buy side. We talked about, you know, buy side getting absorbed at some point. And then there was some sellers induced, and we said it needs to speed away from that in order for them to be in control. And boom, it shot down to the 570s, and that would be where you take it out. Let's reset. Okay, so we hit 200 and 300. 500 in buy side was hit with this push up into the volume point control just above 600. Let's go see what ES is doing. Another 300 in buy side hit. Created two volume imbalances with the push up. Ah, 9 minutes until hourly close. Okay. I don't know anything what to say about this region here. You generated some sellers and didn't follow through, and now you're hitting a bunch of buyers. It's basically consolidating from, it's just a big range bound. We went above the high, swept all the lows. Now we're back in the range. I don't diddle in the middle. This is why it's called the idiot box. So you basically have this thing here. Boom. We recovered all above this. At this point, the long seems to be in control again. See profit, take profit kind of day. Yeah, they call it a seek and destroy profile for this. Wow, you're getting a large amount of contracts here. 191, 168. What's this about? You had a 194 buyer, 169 seller. More buyers than sellers here, so I don't know what that trader was about, but it's starting to reward the sellers again. For a seller idea to be true, needs to come below 600, just like before. This is straight middle range stuff, so yes, starting to test the lows. YQ holding the middle.
Sweep and
Whoa,
QU5 CME
what was
buyers
that?
at 23,620. Absorption ESU5 CME buyers at
Hitting
6406. Sweep
600 and buy
ESU5
side
CME
here.
buyers at 6,402.25.
We just hit 512 in buy side. Sweeping the highs.
Sweep and QU5 CME buyers at 23,650. Absorption and
Just hit another
QU5 CME
300 in
sellers
buy
at
side.
23,650.
All right. So you're hitting the highs on NQ. ES still has yet to do that. See? So you're getting some divergence on NQ and ES right now. They're just giving no downside. 6K in buyer aggression for the session. What? Got a massive headache right now, if I'm being honest. How many points above the high are we? Let's just check. About 20 points above the high from pre-market.
Sweep ESU5 CME sellers at 6,407.25.
If it fades this 173 buyer, you could be getting some little pullback. My bad. Ah, there's nothing to apologize about. No. Oh, you mean about my headache? Yeah, I had like outdoor play after the 28 kid lesson I had, and I was getting scorched in the sun a little bit. I got that tomorrow too. It's the last day. 417 buyers taken there. ES coming to the highs. Oh, but it's not really. Hourly closed. Yum. Yum. Back to, we're fading this 173 buyer at 650. Oh yeah, and there was like a bunch of buy side hit and a little player at over 173 contract at 650 that was getting faded.
Absorption NQU5 CME sellers at 23,642. Sweep NQU5 CME buyers at 23,642.5.
All right, so another 167 buyer at 642 could absorb this guy. A 434 buy side hit. This looks like it could be a buyer absorption continuation. Buyer absorption to the downside at 642. Here we go. Here we go. Buyer absorption. Buyer absorption. Because we have hit a bunch of buy side, 6K in buy side for the session hit, and then we went 31 points above a pre-market high, and now we're jittering below these buyer nodes here. So these two buyer nodes alongside a 6K buyer aggression for the entire session, just assuming that it's going to pull back and test some sell
Absorption
side.
ESU5 CME buyers
And
at
here we go.
6401. Sweep NQU5 CME sellers at
Hitting 255 in sell side now.
23,625.75.
Fading that 167 inflection point at 642. It'd be nice to see a little bit more aggression than that. But wow, it just recovers on everything. It would need to reject these, which it's not doing, so currently it's not engineering much sell side. It's just testing. It's refusing to give up the highs. Okay. So we came 31 points above this pre-market New York start high. And if we came back beneath that, we're starting to see that as a fake out breakout. And this is the trap set. And then it should go Now, here we go.
Sweep ESU 5
Boom!
CME sellers at
Buyer absorption. Here we go.
6,395.75. Absorption ESU 5 CME buyers at 6,395.75.
Buyer absorption, baby. Yeah. Oh man, it just recovers everything. This is like a see profit, take profit day. They repaint. It's repainting every single jittery move. Like it goes down and goes up and goes down and up and down and up. Like you need trailing on all of these trades. It's just not trending at all. It's creating a descending channel and it's rejecting off the top of the channel and bouncing off the bottom of the channel. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look here in this little 2-minute, this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, it's just bouncing off that. If we go even more granular, it's just, there we go. $6K in sell buy side for the session, seeing a little bit of 1,000 to 2,000 recovery of the buyers. Seems to make sense. They would have offloaded their positions passively into some buyers here. All right.
Absorption ESU 5 CME buyers at 6,392.25.
All right. We got that volume imbalance.
Sweep ESU 5 CME sellers at 6,389.25.
Boom. Talk about buyer absorption. That was a nice read. Aside from this manipulation up to 56, like these inflection points were key for seeing the narrative shift. We'll stay with you for another 5 minutes and I gotta lay down. My head is killing me. We're back at volume point of control at 600. The narrative we initially talked about with that inflection point at the 580s over here. It would have to break these 580s for the sellers to not just be range bound bouncing. Is there anything down there? There's that pre-market volume imbalance, but nothing more than that. Thanks.
Absorption ESU 5
I just
CME
refuse
buyers
to
at
not.
6,388.5.
I refuse to take a day off. Like if I get out of sync with the market, like there's something about getting in sync and you learn like what did they do yesterday and what did they do in the PM session. So like our session, New York AM session was yesterday pretty sideways and we caught a few reads within that, but it didn't trend until the PM. And then now Asia trended up with London and now New York is getting caught in the range. So it's kind of like, yeah, I try to have a system where I can take within this, and if it trends from here, sometimes you can get like 200, 300 tick trends off of some of these fades of these inflection points. And then other times, if it retraces back on all of this, and your theory is wrong, it doesn't matter because you're trailing, and you trail as you go and leave a runner. So you take off the table, or you set a target, and then you take one off at the target, and then you trail the runner. So you win even if your theory is wrong. And then you just don't put yourself at risk, especially if you've already up for the day, and you leave yourself, not exposed to give back. For me personally, giving back is not my strong suit. I don't like to do it. I'd rather not make any money and then just keep what I got in the first trade than take 3 trades and give back on the second 2 or even the second one. So, knowing your personality type and what triggers you to feel a certain way is important. Everyone's different. It's like some people like driving 2-door sedans or 2-door sports cars, like some like box cars, some like monster trucks. Like, I don't know where I'm going with the analogy with cars, but everyone has a different type of horsepower that they drive. So there's no one size. They all get you from point A to B, and that B should be to profit. And if it's not, then you need to check the type of vehicle you're in, the mental vehicle. So we're still 6K in buyer aggression for the session. We're just kind of like absorbing the shock of the hit to the downside here. But a rejection of the 600s and continuation down seems like the feasible play, because we already swept the highs from pre-market not once, twice, 3 times. We kept testing new highs, and now we rejected the new high, came back in the range. So coming and testing the lows seems like the next possible thing. I wouldn't dwell too much on like what you're wrong about necessarily. Like there's like
Absorption
being able
ESU5
to like
CME
just
buyers
hit
at
the button when it does the
63.86.
thing that you said. And then like if you were caught in a narrative and refusing to let go or something, like what would, like focusing on like why did you not switch or something like that. Like I use these as theoretical things. It didn't ever stay above the 650. It manipulated to 655. And if yeah, so this was basically giving you narratives on where to have a stop loss kind of thing. It was a little bit more drawdown than I would have wanted on this idea, but it did play out.
Absorption ESU5 CME sellers at 63.90.
Yeah, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. ES making lower lows here, while NQ holding the range. ES kind of broke down into the London area. So ES is already down here, kind of, and it broke out of this range. So there's some divergence between NQ. So it looks like it's going to fade this and break to the downside at some point to follow suit with what is happening with ES. So this looks like bearish divergence to the downside on NQ. Like you could fade this as buyer absorption continuation past the volume point of control down to the VWAP at 576 and sweeping these lows. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it for this after I sign off analysis, and then retesting some of these lows and seeing how much of the sell side it hits down there. Buyer absorption continuation. Here we go. Buyer absorption continuation to the downside. And on that note, ladies and gents, I gotta lay down and one more day of this crazy summer schedule, and then I get a week off. Japan is on a holiday all next week, Obon, they call it. It's like kind of Day of the Dead of Japan, where the spirits of the ancestors come home kind of thing. So I'll be having some meals with my wife's family and
Sweep
stuff.
ESU 5 CME buyers at 6,389.5.
But I will be on streaming as usual, so stay blessed, stay positive, and stay frugal. I will catch you tomorrow.